So the first one from Jake M, who says, not giving Morey credit until he properly refers to Joel's, quote, procedure as, quote, surgery. So Jake's been on this for at least a couple shows. I know he's been hammering this.
It's fair.
I just want to point out, I'm not saying one way or another why they've been vague about this. Joel's word on this and how he wants things to be framed probably matters. I'm not going to say a whole lot more than that, but I think I've said it on the show. If you look at how they have done the terminology for other injuries, where they're talking about Mo Bamba's knee fat pad and D'Anthony Melton's got a lumbar spine stress response, and Joel has a meniscus injury that knocks him out for at least a month, and they're just like, yeah, he had a procedure on the meniscus, and that's all you know. Add 2 and 2 together there, and you'll probably get 4. Is all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, it stinks because you do just want simply just just be upfront about it. You want the clarity about it, and you want to just make it as easy as possible. You would like for it, but Kyle laid it out. He's been around this team for a very long time, and just hear what Kyle said. Let's go to our next super chat. Who we have next? Let's go to Ernest. Let's go to Ern. Here, I haven't thought, quote unquote, money on a shot from 3 since JJ.
I think he's referring to Buddy here. Yeah.
Yes.
Context clues.
It's pure. Also, ball movement is better with Buddy and Cam than Beverly and Morris. We appreciate it, Ern. Yeah, with Buddy Hield, when he lines up and squares up for a shot, even when he's not fully squared up for a shot, and it's off balance like that. The first
We've been watching him make those shots for quite a long time. At this point.
Yeah, and all it does is make you think. And everybody, when you talk about again the injury, where Jake is talking about the Joel Embiid injury and the clarity of it all, you're like, man, fingers crossed Joel comes back, because when that guy squares up, when that ball swings to him because that double team, and he is the skip pass maybe. And not just the easy bounce pass because Joel is double teamed and he's going to bounce it to Buddy. Sometimes he's going to have that skip pass. He's going to be open. He's going to be squared up. And more often than not, that 40% clip, he might go for a stretch where he's shooting 50% over a course of 5 games because of how many good-looking shots he's going to get. Yes, it makes things so much easier, Bernard, having him out there on the floor. Payne, too, the ball moves. Those guys, when it sticks because they have a...
It's Ernest. You're skipping names in the super. I
see Bernard there. We're coming to him next. Ern, because when the ball, they have a purpose.
I'm just messing
with
you.
I know. You know I don't care. Come on. We're live. I'm going to make a mistake. They have a purpose with it when they do it. So that's why I don't mind it when they do it.
But Devon, you've played a ton of basketball yourself. You know the feeling, like you're playing a team that's got a very good shooter, and you see, like, whether it's your assignment or somebody else's, you see that guy get open, you're just like,
it's deflating.
Fuck.
Your shoulders drop.
How do we let that happen?
You blame the other guy.
How do we let it happen?
Yes.
Why didn't you rotate? Why did I miss that screen? Why didn't
Right.
And it's just like such a, and because, I mean, it's more pronounced at lower levels because it's a shorter line, so guys are shooting like 45, 50% at some of these lower levels on threes.
Right.
But even still, like these NBA guys, it's more ground to cover. And so they see Buddy get free. If he's got a few feet of space, I mean, forget about it.
I mean, look, we saw George Niang tonight. You said at one point when the ball swung to George, you can't leave him open like that. He missed it, but it's the point of it. And if we're looking at Buddy Hield and George Niang,
just a feeling of dread.
Exactly, yeah. And they haven't had that since George Niang left last season, outside of Tyrese Maxey.
And George was mostly like, he's standing still.
Yeah.
Buddy can move.
But when
still
James Harden would find him,
Yes.
because James Harden trusted him, it's because the guy can shoot at a very high clip and he will knock that shot down. And Buddy Hield is a much better shooter, with all due respect to George Niang.
All right, up next, we got our guy, Bernard McCoy. What up,
Bernard?
Bernard? Who in the hell were the Cavs playing to be 17-1? Our broken up Sixers beat them. Great win, man. But we still need another big man. I actually do think, look, 17-1 is 17-1.
I got it here. So
they beat up on a lot of bad teams. But look, when the Sixers were on their run, we said you play who's on the schedule. They took care of business. There's still wins for them against, they beat Milwaukee in mid-January. They beat the Clippers. End of January, which that's another big one. So 2 wins against the Bucks, a win against the Clippers.
They blew out the Kings.
Everybody else is in the like either below average or bad type tier.
Yep.
But that's what those are the teams you build win streaks against. And so
you know
they
what?
still got signature wins within there, and they were banged up for most
Darius
of that
Garland
month.
was out for a long
Evan
period
Mobley
of time.
was out.
Evan Mobley was out. Bernard, you know what the thing is? If the Sixers were 17-1, you would take it against Washington.
We would not
and the
care.
Spurs and the Hawks. You would take it. So, hey, in the series, we'll see how things go. But 17-1 to get them into that 2 spot, you know what that's good for? That's good for the Cavs because if they can hang on, they get the 2 seed. And they get
Bernard's it's a fair point, but
it is.
He also says
just don't
it's
dismiss
still a great win. It's still a great win.
Absolutely. Just don't dismiss it. No question.
So thank you, Bernard.
Let's get
always.
to Furious next. Furious, who says, was there a possibility of getting Bogdanovich, who went to the Knicks with Burks, for Tobias and still getting healed with the second round picks?
That part is not as clear to me. So the tricky part with the Sixers trade negotiations, as far as I understood it. So I know they went after Atlanta Bogdanovich. Price was too high there. I know they went after and made an offer, which was categorized to me as an aggressive offer for Alex Caruso in Chicago. Were turned down by the Bulls, as were the Golden State Warriors also made an aggressive offer. I think
At Caruso?
yes,
Okay.
they were going after Caruso hard, and the Bulls just made it clear they weren't making trades. And then Detroit Bogdanovich, who's now New York Bogdanovich, and Alec Burks. I know the Sixers were talking with the Pistons on, Wednesday night before the deadline. And Woj reported and said, hey, the talks kind of fell apart tonight. I don't know if it was a Buddy Hield and or Buddy Hield or for sure. I would say based on what they gave up, it's probably choosing between the two. And the Sixers, it seems like correctly, were saying, hey, we're going to draw the line on Bogdanovich and Burks. Like those are guys who might help us now, but we're probably saying to Bogdanovich goodbye in the offseason. Whereas Buddy, like, look, I don't know that they're going to re-sign him, but I do think at his age, at 31 he's at right now, at 31, he has the ability to be a positive impact guy for you right now for this playoff run. And if you sign him to, let's say, a 3-year deal, even a 4-year deal, you can still feel he would be at the end of his contract as old as Detroit / New York Bogdanovich is right now.
Yes.
So
it makes sense.
I think that's the difference in
why
you would hold out and say that Buddy is a better idea for us for where we're at.
And he won't be 32 until December of next season.
Yes.
So
Furious, I don't know for sure that it was Buddy or I'm just like, that's kind of, I'm trying to get into the logic of why they might have done that.
If he plays well and they do what they do, make a run, they're going to have a real decision on their hands in terms of keeping him, because you're also potentially talking about maybe a starter role and then worried about replacing him later down the line versus now. But that'll be the offseason.
And look, if it's a good problem to have if they have to weigh all that. It's just, what happens with the cap space plan and all that.
All right, Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats, jumps in and says, Maxey finding his midi, I'm excited. Davon knows, being here for all of the shows, we've talked about
our
this.
Guy, Davon.
He's so lethal from beyond, and his speed, getting to the basket, his ability to put the ball on the floor and finish at the rim, that we've talked. Sometimes you don't have to go into the trees because you've already proven yourself as a 40+% three-point shooter and a guy who can get to the rim and finish, first-time All-Star. That's why. Find that mid-range game to go with it. The analytics don't frown at that because of the other two that you do so well, getting to the rim, making those threes, and he hit some big jumpers from about 17 feet. One on the
Huge
baseline,
one in the final
step back.
4 or 5 minutes,
Yep.
for sure.
And the one that he had right around the nail, the elbow and extended area right there at the free throw line. But that one on the baseline where Max Strus was there with him, and he did the step back and just full extension and knocked it down along the baseline. This is while struggling. Buddy was doing what Buddy was doing, but you needed somebody else to do something. And Maxey didn't overdo it. He did it when they needed it. So yes, Davon, I even saw it in the chat a little bit earlier that someone was talking about, can we focus on his mid-range game, because he had some big shots in the mid-range and it helped him out there tonight to get that win.
Yeah, and look, I continue to think the key for him is finding his balance as a shooter on mid-range shots, because so much of the time when we see him take a mid-range, he's falling, he's going this way and he's going backwards and what. If Tyrese Maxey squares his shoulders and goes straight up and down on the jumper, I feel good that it's going to go down. When he or anybody else is doing the like bad Kobe impersonations, essentially, like I don't have a lot of confidence he's going to make it. That's why his percentages from mid-range are in the, I think last I checked, they're in the high 30s. It's not that I don't think he can make that shot, is I don't think the process behind it is that good. So to your point, there's been a lot of yelling over the years about analytics and, you know, what can't take mid-range shots and all that. Analytics and numbers have never said that. It's, you can't build an offense around most mid-range shooting. I would love for Tyrese to, that to me is the final piece of the puzzle. We know he's got the speed to get to the rim. He's gotten better at getting to the free throw line. The three-point shot has come. But to your point, Devon, when you get to the playoffs and teams are going to sell out and say, we're not giving you threes, we'll load up on you at the rim, what can you do to counter that? The mid-range is how you counter that. That's the final level for him. And that's the difference between him being a very good, maybe inconsistent playoff guy to you can't guard this guy in the playoffs. There's no way to stop him. So I'm not expecting that this year. I do think, to Davon's point, that it's important we see some games like this where the mid-range has to sustain him and sustain the team in some tough moments.
Our buddy Austin Carell in the chat says he's shooting 36% on non-paint twos.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that, Austin, as always. And you got X-Man says Maxey faced too much on the mid, as you pointed out.
We all silly like the mayor.